What's up, guys? This is my geography channel, and for this video, it's going to answer your question: why didn't Russia try to colonize Africa? Because as we all know, Russia is the the second strongest country in the world, right after the USA, because the USA ranks the strongest. So to answer your question, why did Russia not want to colonize Africa? Because Russia, they could have done it if they wanted to, because they're really, really strong. The reason why, because Africa is a poor continent, and the reason why it's poor is because the Europeans rolled up on the coast of Africa and stole all our natural materials. So we didn't have much, and so Africans tried to do the best they could. And then Russia, lots of European countries colonized countries, like UK colonized Sudan, Italy colonized Somalia and Eritrea, UK colonized British Somaliland, and lots of countries. So why didn't Russia want to colonize any other countries? The reason Russia didn't want to colonize other countries because, say for example, Italy colonized Eritrea. They went through the Mediterranean Sea, through the Suez Canal, because the Suez Canal in Egypt is the quickest way to get to most African countries. Because without the Suez Canal, Italy had to go across the North Atlantic and the South Atlantic Ocean, go on the east coast of South Africa, go up all the way and then into the Arabian Sea, to the Gulf of Aden, and then get to the Red Sea. But instead they used the Gulf of Suez because it's quicker. So Italy, it was quicker for them, and same for UK. The reason Russia couldn't colonize Africa, it's not because they were weak, but Russia is really far from Africa, and it's hard for Russia to take boats all the way because Africa is really far from Russia, and there's not really water next to Russia that will be quick enough to get to Africa. Italy was able to colonize Africa because Europe is really, really close to Africa, and Italy is close, so they just went through the Mediterranean Sea, went through the Suez Canal into the Red Sea, and then colonized Eritrea and Somalia. And same for the UK, they did the same thing. That's how they got Sudan, South Sudan, Egypt, and British Somaliland. That's why some European countries were able to colonize Africa, because the European countries were closer to Africa, and it was easier for them to get to Africa. But Russia is way too far. If they were going to go to Africa, they had to go through the sea, They had to go through the Sea of Oshak, go across the whole Pacific Ocean, go to the Philippine Sea, the Arabian Sea, they had to go through the Indian Ocean, all the way just to colonize a couple of countries. That's not worth it. And lots of neighboring countries of Russia aren't nice because the European Union hates Russia. Most countries hate Russia, so that's why they're not going to be as helpful and welcoming to Russia. That's why Russia didn't colonize Africa, because their distance looks close on a map, but Russia wanted to use boat. So by boat, it's very far. For Italy, UK, and other European countries, that's why they could have colonized Africa, because they're close, the transportation is easier. But Russia is further. That's why they didn't colonize Africa. If they were closer, they would have colonized a lot of countries. Some countries weren't colonized, like Liberia and Ethiopia. They were lucky. But most countries were colonized. That's why Russia didn't colonize Africa. Anyway, bye now. I'm glad you know.